take photos all by yourself. My name is Michelle, and I'm going to share a clever strategy that only requires 3 items. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I release a new video on websites, marketing, and content creation strategies. All right, let's dive in. Sometimes when you're in need of photos and you don't have an extra set of hands to help you, you need a simple strategy that works. For example, I use this strategy to get some photos for my video thumbnails, but this will really work for anything. If you're in need of a nice headshot for a profile image, or maybe you're looking to get a really quick and inexpensive family portrait, this will work for you. So what's the secret? You don't actually take photos of yourself at all. You take a video. Let's talk about the essentials that you will need. Number 1 is a camera. I recommend something that can shoot 4K video. The reason being is that the 4K video is going to help you achieve a higher quality image in the end. Even iPhones can shoot 4K video, so if you don't have a digital camera, an iPhone will work in a pinch. Number 2 is a tripod. Because we don't have that extra set of hands to help us, we need something to hold the camera. Tripods can be pretty inexpensive. The one that I'm using is something I actually got off of Amazon. So there's lots of options out there if you don't have a tripod. And the last thing that you will need is access to video editing software. Now, you don't need to have any experience in video editing. Don't let that scare you. You're really only going to be popping the video in and exporting a frame from the video to get your images. And at the end of this video, I'm actually going to show you how to render a frame from Adobe Premiere and iMovie. Now let's get into the process and some nice to haves. The first thing that you're gonna wanna do is set up your scene. For example, if you're looking for a simple headshot, or maybe you're actually planning to cut the background out of your images, you may consider shooting against a plain wall. If you're shooting a family portrait, you're gonna wanna make sure that everybody's comfortable and the scene is set to your liking. When it comes to setting up your scene, lighting is actually very important. Natural lighting can be your friend and it's free. The key to lighting is that you want to make sure that the light source is in front of your face. So if you're facing a window, that works great. If you have a light source behind you or a window behind you, you potentially could look really dark, and that's not going to make for a great photo. If natural lighting isn't something that you can utilize, having an external light source would be a nice to have. So think of things like ring lights or even softbox lights that you can position to light up the space. So setting the scene also means getting your camera settings correct. So if you are using a digital camera, you are going to want to make sure that your shutter speed, your aperture, and your ISO are set accordingly so that you can get a great looking shot. I'm not going to go super in depth in those, but if you do have questions, you can leave those in the comments. You can shoot in 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, whatever you have available to you and whatever you're comfortable with. Because in the end, you're just going to be exporting a single frame. So I want you to think about this. If you're shooting 60 frames per second, there are 60 seconds in 1 minute, you will have 3,600 frames that you can go through in that 1 minute of video. Now, when it comes to 30 frames per second, just beware of quick motion. The faster you move, the more likely it is to get some blurring. So you do want to be aware of that. So once everything is in place, you will turn the camera on, you will get in place, and you will pose. The key to this is just to go slow. Do several poses and hold them. So for example, if you're doing a headshot, you might want to turn your body, always look straight forward to the camera, and then you will just do different poses where maybe you turn your head slightly, look forward. You'll just want to hold for a couple of seconds. You're going to feel silly. It feels really awkward to do it, but it's actually going to turn out some great photos. And don't forget to smile. So when you can see the video back, you'll probably laugh, but just going slow, holding different poses, turning different ways, it will make for a fantastic headshot. Another nice to have would be a remote control to start and stop your camera. It's absolutely not necessary, just nice to have. So for example, right now I am shooting with a Canon 90D. By no means is that something that you need to have. It's just what I prefer to use. And my Canon 90D has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So I actually have the ability to connect my camera to either my iPhone or my iPad. And what that allows me to do is actually see the live shot so I can see exactly what things look like. I have the ability to change shutter speed, aperture, and my ISO. And I have the big red button to start and stop my camera. It's super awesome. And it just makes shooting things by yourself so much easier. So if you do have a Canon camera or even like a different camera that has the ability to have that Wi-Fi connection and connect to a phone, that's super cool. I know there are also independent remote controls that you can buy to start and stop cameras. So if you really want to get fancy, you can go down that road, but absolutely no need for this process. You can always just start your camera, walk away, and then just keep rolling. The last step of this process is just to pop it into a video editing program and then export a frame. So off the top of my head, I know that iMovie can do this. I know that there are programs like Camtasia that will do this. If you have the Adobe editing suite, Premiere will do this. There are tons of options out there. I really suggest, using what you can. If you don't currently have one, maybe you download a trial of one of the programs just to see how it would work for you. Be sure to watch till the end of the video because I will show you how to export a frame in Adobe Premiere and iMovie. Having said all of that, now if you're like me, you might be thinking, how could I take this to the next level? I'm glad you asked. So when I took my own photos, having the ability to see the shot was great and wonderful, but I wanted to see the shot as I was looking into the camera lens. Now you might think that that's impossible. No, it's not. I did it. So how did I do that? I'm going to explain my crazy setup to you. So I actually have my tripod, and then on top of my tripod, I have a teleprompter attached to that. And then my camera is attached to the teleprompter. Now, disclaimer here, you absolutely do not need any of this. If you have these things, it's amazing to be able to take your own photos by doing this, but you do not need to go out and buy them. So sometimes I like to use my teleprompter. If I have a script, then I can just pop my iPad into the tray and then I can read the script as I'm looking into the lens. Well, I had the same idea. Since I can have the live shot on my iPad, I could put that into the tray and reflect the image of the shot right into the camera lens. So as I look into the camera, I can see how exactly everything is looking, which makes it so much easier to take your own photos. It's ridiculous. But this was so friggin' cool that I had to share it with you. It's ridiculous, but it totally works. That's really all there is for the process. Now, if you've learned anything at this point, please give this video a like. And if you have questions on how exactly I did something or what I might suggest for your setup, just leave a comment below. The last thing we need to do now is to go into our video editing software and render our images. So I will show you that now. All right, so now I am in Adobe Premiere Pro. And you're actually looking at this video as it's being edited. So all I did and all that you would need to do in order to bring this video inside is to just hit File, Import. You would find your clip for wherever you saved your clip, import it into the project, and you would just drag it to the timeline. So normally all of the video clips that I have are in here. I can actually hit Command I, and that will bring up a window to add any additional files that I want to. And then anything that I have in here, I can just simply drag to the timeline. And then once it's there, you can start to scrub through the video and you can see all of these different awkward poses. Now, it absolutely helps if you're not talking, because if you're talking, you're going to get a lot of open mouth and awkward situations. But let's say this was the shot that I wanted to use and I thought it was a great headshot. The only thing I need to do, there's this tiny little button here and I'm on the editing tab. If that helps you guys. This button that says export frame, which is actually Shift E would be the hotkey for that. You would click this and then you can give it a name. We're gonna wanna export it as a JPEG, and then you can choose this browse to select the path where you want to save this photo. And then you hit OK. And that's all there is to it. There's literally no editing knowledge needed. It's just dragging it into the project, and then clicking this button to export the frame. So in Premiere Pro, super easy. Let's take a look at how you do it in iMovie. Okay, now I've started a new project in iMovie. So I am going to import my clip by going to File and then Import Media. Command I will also bring this up, and then I'm going to select one of the videos that I shot. I'll hit Import Selected. And then I will also need to drag this to the timeline. So you can see that I've got this one video. And as I scrub through it, you can see that I've got all of these different frames that I could choose from. So if I want to zoom in a little bit, I can use this icon here to sort of get a closer look through it. And then I can also just use my mouse to scroll through some sections. But as I am just randomly going to select something that I don't look super silly. So if this was the frame that I wanted to choose, as I hover over it, you can see it changing, but when you click on it, that will be where your placeholder stays. And then it's literally as easy as a click of a button. You come up to this button up here, which is actually the share button, and you can choose save current frame, and that's just going to export an image. So if I click on that, then I have the ability to save an image wherever I want it to go. You can also find it by going to the File button and then hitting Share and then choosing Image. If you're not using Premiere Pro or iMovie, if you have any other access to editing software, I can probably guarantee you that it has the ability to export a frame. So use what you have, and if not, try to explore some options out there that might be cost effective, or download a trial like I said earlier to see if it'll work for you. So what did you think? I hope you found this strategy helpful. Be sure to like and subscribe. I release videos every week on website marketing and content creation strategies. Check out the description below for all the items mentioned in this video, as well as some additional resources that you may be interested in. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.